the giant magnet inside our planet. A soothing bedtime journey. Introduction, the invisible shield. Hello, and welcome to this quiet place, where we can let the day fall away, and rest for a while. Tonight, we're going on a gentle journey, into the heart of our planet, to discover something invisible, something that has been protecting us, every moment of every day, since long before we were born. Take a deep breath, and let it out slowly. Beneath your feet, deep inside the earth, there is a giant magnet. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but it is always there, wrapping around our world like an invisible blanket, keeping us safe, keeping us warm. This magnetic field, this gentle, invisible force, reaches out into space, surrounding our entire planet, like a protective embrace. And tonight, we will explore this hidden wonder, slowly, carefully, with no rush at all. Imagine for a moment, that you are lying in a safe, comfortable place. The ground beneath you is solid, and steady. Above you, the sky stretches out, peaceful and calm. And all around you, though you cannot see it, there is this invisible shield, this magnetic blanket, holding everything together. We rarely think about it, but it is always there. While we sleep, while we dream, while we go about our days, the Earth's magnetic field is quietly doing its work. It guides birds across vast oceans, it paints shimmering lights in the polar skies, and it deflects the fierce winds that blow from the sun. Without it, our world would be a very different place. But with it, we are safe. Protected. Held. So let us begin this journey together, descending slowly into the depths, to discover where this magnetism comes from, and how it has shaped our world. There is no hurry, we have all the time we need. Just breathe, and follow along, as we explore the giant magnet inside our planet. Journey to the center, layers of Earth. To understand the Earth's magnetic field, we must first understand what lies beneath our feet. So let us imagine, that we are beginning a slow descent, down, down, into the layers of our planet. First, there is the crust. This is the thin shell, the skin of the Earth, where we live our lives. It is made of rock, solid and cool, stretching down for about 30 kilometers, or 20 miles. This is the ground you walk on, the mountains you climb, the ocean floor beneath the seas. It is a thin layer, like the peel of an apple, delicate compared to what lies below. Breathe in, and out. Now we descend deeper, past the crust, into the mantle. This is a much thicker layer, made of rock that is hot, so hot that it moves, very, very, slowly. Like thick honey warmed by the sun. The mantle flows. But this flow is patient, it takes millions of years, for the rock to shift even a small distance. The mantle stretches down for nearly 3,000 kilometers, almost 2,000 miles. It is a world of pressure and heat, where the rock glows with a dull red light, where nothing is still, but nothing moves quickly either. Just slow, steady, patient movement, like the breathing of the Earth itself. Down we go, deeper still. The temperature rises, the pressure grows, and beneath the mantle, we reach something different. Something that will help us understand the great magnet of our world. This is the core. The outer core is made of liquid metal. Iron and nickel, melted by the incredible heat, flowing like water, but much heavier. This is not solid rock anymore. This is molten metal, swirling, circulating, moving in great slow currents, thousands of kilometers beneath our feet. The outer core is about 2,000 kilometers thick, more than 1,000 miles. And within this liquid metal, something extraordinary is happening. The iron moves, it flows, and as it flows, it creates electricity. And electricity, when it moves through metal, creates magnetism. This is where Earth's magnetic field is born. In the slow, steady swirling of liquid iron, deep in the outer core. But there is one more layer. At the very center, at the heart of our planet, there is the inner core. This is solid iron, pressed so tightly by the weight of everything above it, that even though it is hotter than the surface of the sun, it cannot melt. It sits there, a solid sphere of metal, about 1200 kilometers across. Breathe deeply, and imagine this. Beneath your feet, through all those layers, there is a heart of iron. A core of metal, hotter than fire, surrounded by a sea of liquid metal, all of it moving, all of it flowing, creating the invisible force that shields our world. The heart of the magnet, the core. Let us stay here for a moment, in the outer core, where the magnetism is born. Imagine an ocean of liquid iron. Not water, but metal, melted and flowing. The temperature here is about 5,000 degrees, hot enough to melt almost anything. The pressure is enormous, millions of times greater than the air pressure at the surface. And yet, in this extreme place, there is movement. The liquid iron does not sit still. It flows, driven by the heat rising from the inner core below, and by the slow cooling at the boundary with the mantle above. Hot metal rises, cooler metal sinks, and the whole ocean swirls, like a pot of water slowly boiling. This movement, this flow, is called convection. And it happens very slowly, over years, over decades, over centuries. The metal takes its time, moving in great loops. Turning, circling, in the darkness beneath the world. Now, here is where the magic happens. Iron is a metal, and metals can conduct electricity. When the liquid iron moves, it drags with it something invisible, magnetic fields that already exist, tiny, weak fields. And as the iron moves, those fields grow stronger. The moving metal generates electric currents, and those currents generate more magnetic fields, and those fields influence the motion of the metal, which generates more currents. It is a cycle, a loop, feeding on itself. Scientists call it the geodynamo. Like a generator, like a machine, but made of nothing but flowing metal and heat and time. No moving parts, no gears, just the slow, patient circulation of liquid iron, creating the magnetic field that surrounds our entire planet. Breathe in, and imagine this invisible dance. Deep inside the earth, where no one has ever been, and no one ever will be, the metal flows. And from that flow, comes the magnetism that protects us all. This has been happening for billions of years. Long before the first life appeared on Earth, the core was already generating its magnetic field. Long before the continents formed, long before the oceans filled, the geodynamo was turning, slowly, steadily, creating our invisible shield. And it continues today. Right now, beneath you, the iron is flowing. The currents are moving. The magnetic field is being renewed, again and again, in an endless cycle. It is one of the most fundamental forces of our planet, quiet, hidden, but always present. The invisible embrace, Earth's magnetic field. Now let us rise up, slowly, from the core, back through the mantle, through the crust, and out into the space above our planet. Because the magnetic field, born in the depths, does not stay below. It reaches out, far beyond the surface, wrapping our entire world in its invisible embrace. Imagine, standing on the surface of the Earth. You cannot see the magnetic field, but it is there. Lines of magnetic force, invisible threads, emerge from deep inside the planet, curve out into space, and loop back down again. They form a shape, like the field around a bar magnet, but on an enormous scale. If you could see these field lines, they would look beautiful. They would emerge from the region we call the magnetic South Pole, loop high above the Earth, some of them reaching out tens of thousands of kilometers into space, and then curve back down, to enter the planet again at the magnetic North Pole. The shape is a bit like an apple, or a donut, stretched along the axis between the poles. Scientists call it a dipole field, because it has two poles, north and south. but it is not a perfect shape. It bulges in some places, and pinches in others, because the flow of iron in the core is not perfectly smooth. Breathe, and let yourself feel this invisible presence. It surrounds you completely. You are sitting inside this magnetic field right now, held gently by forces you cannot sense, but which are as real as the ground beneath you. The magnetic field extends far out into space. In fact, it reaches so far, that it carves out a region called the magnetosphere. This is the space around Earth, where the planet's magnetism is stronger than the magnetism of the Sun and the stars. It is our bubble, our protective zone, where we are safe. The magnetosphere is not round. On the side facing the Sun, it is compressed, pushed inward by the solar wind. On the side facing away from the Sun, it stretches out into a long tail, reaching far behind the Earth, like a comet's tail, but made of magnetism instead of dust. Inside this magnetosphere, we live our lives. Birds fly, planes soar, satellites orbit, all held within the gentle, invisible boundaries of Earth's magnetic embrace. We are surrounded by it, every moment. When you sleep, when you wake, when you look up at the stars, the magnetic field is there, quietly wrapping around the world. And though we rarely think about it, this field is one of the reasons life on Earth is possible. Because out there, in the space beyond our atmosphere, there are dangers. The Sun sends out a constant stream of particles, a wind of charged atoms, that could strip away our air and harm living things. But the magnetic field stands in the way. It deflects those particles, guides them around us, keeps them at bay. We are protected, held, safe within the invisible arms of the Earth's magnetic field. Our guardian in the sky, protection from space. Let us think now about what the magnetic field protects us from. Out in space, the universe is not empty. It is filled with particles, with energy, with forces that could be harmful. But the Earth's magnetic field acts as a shield, gently turning aside the dangers, keeping us safe. The Sun, our warm, life-giving star, is always burning. It sends light and heat to Earth, but it also sends something else. A wind. Not a wind of air, but a wind of particles. Tiny, charged bits of atoms, mostly protons and electrons, streaming out from the Sun at incredible speeds. This is the solar wind, and it blows past Earth constantly, day and night, without pause. If this solar wind were to hit Earth directly, it would be a problem. The charged particles could damage satellites, disrupt electronics, and over long periods of time, they could even strip away parts of our atmosphere, leaving the surface exposed to harsh radiation. We have seen this happen on other planets. Mars, for example, once had a thick atmosphere, but it lost much of it, because Mars no longer has a strong magnetic field to protect it. But Earth is different. When the solar wind approaches our planet, it encounters the magnetosphere. The charged particles, moving through space, feel the pull and push of the magnetic field. They are deflected, guided around the planet, like water flowing around a stone in a stream. Most of the solar wind simply passes by, diverted by the invisible shield. It flows around the magnetosphere, and continues on into the depths of space, never touching our atmosphere, never reaching the ground where we live. Breathe slowly, and think about this. Right now, above you, particles from the Sun are arriving. But they are being turned aside, gently, continuously, by the magnetic field. You do not see it, you do not feel it, but it is happening. The shield is working, just as it has for billions of years. Sometimes, the Sun becomes more active. It releases bursts of energy, solar storms, sending extra particles toward Earth. When this happens, the magnetosphere ripples and flexes, like a sail catching the wind. The field lines stretch, they vibrate, and more particles are pushed down toward the poles, where some of them slip into the atmosphere. But even then, we are safe. The magnetic field adjusts, it bends but does not break, and the worst of the storm is deflected away. The system is resilient, strong but flexible, protecting us from the sun's occasional outbursts. There is something comforting about this. We live our lives on the surface, under blue skies and white clouds, and we rarely think about the invisible battle happening far above. But the earth, our home, is quietly, constantly defending us. The magnetic field stands watch, day after day, night after night, turning aside the solar wind, keeping the atmosphere intact, preserving the conditions that allow life to flourish. And because of this shield, because of this invisible guardian, we can breathe. We can grow food. We can look up at the stars without fear. The magnetic field makes our world a safe harbor, in the vast, dangerous ocean of space. Dancing lights, the aurora. Sometimes, the magnetic field gives us a gift. A visible sign, of the invisible protection. This gift appears in the skies near the poles, a shimmering curtain of light, dancing and swirling, painting the darkness with colors. We call it the aurora. The aurora borealis in the north, and the aurora australis in the south. The northern lights, and the southern lights. They are beautiful, mesmerizing, and they are a direct result of the Earth's magnetic field. Here is how it happens. When particles from the solar wind, those charged protons and electrons, are deflected by the magnetosphere, most of them flow around the Earth and continue into space. But some of them, a small number, are guided along the magnetic field lines, down toward the poles. They spiral along these invisible lines, drawn inward, toward the regions where the magnetic field enters and exits the planet. As these particles descend, they enter the upper atmosphere. And there, high above the surface, about 100 kilometers up, they collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen in the air. When a fast-moving particle strikes an atom, it gives that atom energy. And when the atom releases that energy, it does so as light. Oxygen atoms, when excited, glow green and red. Nitrogen atoms glow blue and purple. And so, in the thin air above the poles, the sky begins to shimmer. Curtains of light appear, waving and rippling, as more and more particles rain down along the magnetic field lines. The aurora is a dance between the sun and the earth. The sun sends its particles, the magnetic field guides them, and the atmosphere lights up in response. It is one of nature's most beautiful displays, a visible reminder of the invisible forces that surround us. People who have seen the aurora often describe it as magical. The lights move, they pulse, they shift from green to red to purple, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. They form arcs across the sky, or spiraling shapes, or shimmering curtains that seem to flow like silk in the wind. And all of it is happening because of the magnetic field. Breathe, and imagine this. On a cold, clear night, far to the north or south, you stand beneath a sky filled with stars. And then, slowly, a glow appears on the horizon. It brightens, and spreads, and begins to dance. Green light, rippling like water. Red light, glowing softly above. The aurora unfolds, and you watch, in silence, as the Earth's magnetic field makes itself visible, just for a moment, just for you. The aurora has been seen for thousands of years. Ancient people watched these lights and told stories about them. Some believed they were spirits, dancing in the sky. Others thought they were reflections of distant fires, or pathways to other worlds. They did not know about magnetic fields or solar particles, but they recognized beauty, and mystery. And now we know. The aurora is not magic, but it is no less wonderful. It is the Earth's magnetic field, made visible. It is the planet, showing us, that it is protecting us. Every shimmer of light, every wave of color, is proof of the invisible shield that surrounds us. And even when we cannot see the aurora, even when the sky is clear and dark and still, the process continues. Particles arrive from the sun. The magnetic field deflects them, and the atmosphere glows, quietly, far above, in places too remote for most of us to see. The dance goes on, night after night, a silent performance in the theater of the sky. Ancient wanderers, the moving poles. The Earth's magnetic field is not fixed in place. It moves. Slowly, over time, the poles drift, and occasionally, they even flip. This may sound strange, but it is one of the most fascinating aspects of our planet's magnetism. When we talk about the magnetic poles, we are not talking about the geographic poles, the points at the top and bottom of the Earth where the axis of rotation is. Those stay in the same place. But the magnetic poles, the points where the magnetic field lines enter and exit the Earth, those wander. Right now, the magnetic North Pole is in the Arctic, but it is not at the geographic North Pole. It is off to the side, in northern Canada, and it is moving. Every year, it drifts a little farther. Sometimes it moves tens of kilometers in a single year. Over the course of a lifetime, it can shift hundreds of kilometers. Why does it move? Because the flow of liquid iron in the core is never exactly the same. The currents shift, eddies form, and the pattern of the magnetic field adjusts in response. It is like the way a river changes course over time, carving new channels, leaving old ones behind. The magnetic field is fluid, dynamic, always changing. This wandering has practical effects. Compasses, which point toward the magnetic North Pole, need to be adjusted over time. Maps that show magnetic directions become outdated. Navigators have to account for the difference between true north and magnetic north. But it happens slowly enough that we can keep track of it and adjust. Now breathe deeply and consider something even more remarkable. Every few 100,000 years, on average, the magnetic field does something dramatic. It reverses. The north magnetic pole becomes the south magnetic pole, and the south becomes the north. The entire field flips. We know this happens because of rocks. When lava cools and hardens into rock, tiny magnetic minerals inside it align with the Earth's magnetic field at that moment. They lock in place, like tiny compass needles frozen in stone. And when scientists study these rocks, they can see that the direction of the field has changed many times over Earth's long history. At the mid-ocean ridges, where new seafloor is constantly forming, the rocks record a pattern. Stripes of normal magnetism, then stripes of reversed magnetism, then normal again. It is like a barcode, written in stone, telling the story of the Earth's magnetic reversals. These reversals happen irregularly. Sometimes they occur every few 100,000 years. Sometimes millions of years pass without a flip. The last reversal was about 780,000 years ago, and we do not know when the next one will occur. It could be soon, or it could be far in the future. During a reversal, the magnetic field weakens. It does not disappear entirely, but it becomes less organized, more chaotic. Multiple poles can appear at once, and the field lines become tangled. This transition period can last for thousands of years. And during that time, the protection from the solar wind is reduced. But life endures. Past reversals have not caused mass extinctions. The atmosphere still holds. The ozone layer remains. Life adapts, as it always has. The magnetic field may weaken, but it does not fail us. And so, the poles wander. The field shifts. And the Earth continues its slow, patient transformation. Nothing about our planet is permanent, not the position of the continents, not the shape of the ocean basins, and not the direction of the magnetic field. Everything moves, in deep time. Everything changes. But through all of these changes, the geodynamo in the core keeps turning. The liquid iron keeps flowing. And the magnetic field, in some form, continues to protect us. The details shift, but the protection remains. Navigators and travelers, using Earth's magnet. The Earth's magnetic field is not only a shield. It is also a guide. For millions of years, long before humans appeared, animals have used the magnetic field to find their way across vast distances. And when humans finally learned to navigate using magnetism, they joined a long tradition of travelers guided by the invisible lines of force. Many animals can sense the Earth's magnetic field. We do not fully understand how they do it, but the evidence is clear. Birds, sea turtles, salmon, whales, and even some insects use magnetism to navigate. Take the Arctic tern, a small seabird. Every year, it migrates from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back again, a journey of more than 70,000 kilometers. It flies over open ocean, where there are no landmarks, no mountains or rivers to guide it. And yet, it finds its way. How? By sensing the Earth's magnetic field. The bird can somehow detect the angle and intensity of the magnetic field lines. This gives it a sense of direction, a kind of internal compass. It flies along these invisible lines, following them south, and then north again, year after year, across the entire planet. Sea turtles do something similar. When a baby sea turtle hatches on a beach, it crawls to the ocean and swims away. It spends years traveling across vast stretches of open water, feeding and growing. But when it is time to reproduce, it returns to the same beach where it was born. How does it find its way back? Scientists believe the turtle memorizes the magnetic signature of its birthplace. Each location on Earth has a unique combination of magnetic field strength and angle. And the turtle, somehow, remembers this. It uses the magnetic field as a map, imprinted in its mind from the moment it hatched. And when it is ready, it follows the invisible lines home. Salmon also navigate using magnetism. They are born in freshwater streams, swim out to the ocean, and then return to the exact stream where they were born, sometimes years later. The magnetic field helps them find their way back, guiding them across thousands of kilometers of open water. Even tiny insects, like the fruit fly, show responses to magnetic fields. And monarch butterflies, which migrate thousands of kilometers across North America, may use magnetism as one of their navigational tools. The Earth's magnetic field is woven into the lives of countless creatures. It is part of their senses, part of their instincts, part of the way they experience the world. They do not see it, but they feel it. And they trust it, to guide them home. Humans came late to this understanding. For most of our history, we navigated by the stars, by the sun, by the wind and the waves. But then, about 1,000 years ago, someone in China discovered that a piece of magnetized iron, when allowed to spin freely, would always point north. This was the compass. A simple tool, but revolutionary. With a compass, sailors could navigate even when the sky was cloudy, even when they could not see the stars. They could venture farther from shore, cross open oceans, and explore the world. The compass needle is just a magnet. It aligns itself with the Earth's magnetic field lines, pointing toward the magnetic North Pole. And by following that direction, travelers could find their way. For centuries, the compass was one of the most important tools for exploration and trade. Today, we have GPS and satellite navigation. We do not rely on compasses as much as we once did. But the principle remains. Even our smartphones have tiny magnetometers inside, sensing the Earth's magnetic field, helping us orient ourselves. The magnetic field is still guiding us. Just as it guides the birds, the turtles, the salmon. We are all travelers, navigating by the invisible threads of magnetism that stretch around our world. The quiet pulse, Earth's heartbeat. Deep inside our planet, the iron flows. The currents move. The magnetic field renews itself, again and again. It is a process without pause, a rhythm that has continued for billions of years. In a way, it is like the heartbeat of the earth. Our own hearts beat, steadily, throughout our lives. Day and night, whether we are awake or asleep, the heart pumps blood, keeps us alive. We do not think about it, but it is always there, working, sustaining us. The earth has something similar. The geodynamo in the core, the swirling of liquid iron, is a continuous process. It does not stop. It does not rest. And from this motion, the magnetic field arises, over and over, wrapping around the planet, protecting us. It is a quiet pulse. We cannot hear it. We cannot feel it. But it is there. It connects the deep interior of the planet, to the surface where we live, to the space far above. Everything is linked. The heat from the core drives the motion in the outer core. The motion creates the magnetic field. The magnetic field protects the atmosphere. The atmosphere sustains life. And life includes us. This connection is profound. We are children of the earth. Our existence depends on the planet's processes, its heat, its magnetism, its air and water. We are part of a system, a whole, that is much larger than ourselves. When you lie down to sleep at night, when you close your eyes and feel yourself relax, you are held by the earth. The ground beneath you is solid, the air around you is breathable, and the magnetic field above you is standing watch. You are safe. You are protected. You are part of this ancient, ongoing process. The earth has a story. It began billions of years ago, as a ball of molten rock, slowly cooling, slowly organizing itself into layers. The core formed. The mantle settled. The crust hardened. And somewhere along the way, the geodynamo began to turn. The magnetic field appeared. And it has been with us ever since. We are living in the middle of this story. The earth is still changing, still evolving. The magnetic field will continue to shift and wander. The continents will drift. The climate will change. But through it all, the quiet pulse continues. The iron flows. The field renews. The planet endures. And we, in our brief lifetimes, get to be part of it. We walk on the surface of a planet that is alive with motion. We live under the protection of an invisible shield. We navigate by magnetic lines. We watch auroras dance in the sky. And we study the rocks, learning the history of reversals and changes that stretch back millions of years. The Earth's magnetic field is a gift. It is a reminder that we are not alone, not isolated. We are part of a living planet, a world that has nurtured life for billions of years, and will continue to do so for billions more. Breathe, and feel this connection. You are here. The Earth is here. And the quiet pulse, the slow, steady rhythm of the geodynamo, continues beneath you. Closing, resting under the shield. And so, our journey comes to an end. We have traveled deep into the earth, to the core of liquid iron. We have risen up again, following the invisible lines of the magnetic field, out into space. We have seen the aurora dance. We have learned about the wandering poles. We have followed the birds and turtles on their long migrations. And we have felt the quiet pulse, the heartbeat of our planet. Now, it is time to rest. Let yourself settle, let your body relax, let your mind grow quiet. You are safe here. The ground beneath you is solid. The air around you is calm. And above you, far above, the magnetic field is standing watch. The giant magnet inside our planet is working right now. The iron is flowing. The currents are moving. The field is renewing itself. And it will continue, through the night, through tomorrow, through all the days to come. You do not need to think about it. You do not need to worry. It is there. Always. Let yourself be held by this knowledge. You are part of something vast, something ancient, something beautiful. You are protected by forces you cannot see, but which have been guarding life on Earth for billions of years. You are safe. Close your eyes, if you have not already. Feel the weight of your body, sinking into the softness beneath you. Feel your breathing, slow and steady. In. And out. In. And out. Above you, the magnetic field wraps around the world. Below you, the core continues its slow, patient work. And here, in between, you rest. Held by the earth. Surrounded by its invisible embrace. Sleep well, knowing that the planet is taking care of you. The shield is in place. The heartbeat continues. And you are safe, under the gentle, invisible protection of the giant magnet inside our planet. Good night.